Welcome back, everybody. How we doing? It's another film club review. It's another day spent with me, Carson, where we're going to be talking about our pick this week, Uncle Boonmee, who could recall his past lives. I believe that's what it's called. I just watched it. You'd think I would know. Yeah, this movie, man, if you haven't watched it, it's bizarre. Let's go from the beginning, shall we? Why did I pick this one? I picked this film because on the Criterion channel, there is a great collection that they posted recently of Cannes Film Festival winners of the Palme d'Or Award, which if you don't know yet, the Cannes Film Festival is basically for international art film is the Oscars. So if you win the Palme d'Or, you don't even need to win an Oscar. You're good. Parasite went and did it. You know, it won both. Who cares? But this film in 2010 won this award. And so I'm always curious, you know, when you hear about a big award-winning film, it's like, oh, okay, it must be good. And so then curiosity sets in. Of course, I found out it was the very first Thai film to ever win this award. And our director, who has the coolest name of all time, let me see if I can get this right, and I'm probably going to get this wrong. Apichatpong Weerasethakul. Let me say that again. Apichatpong Weerasethakul. He sounds like a rapper. I think he has a very cool name. But anyway, this guy was the first Thai filmmaker to ever win at the Cannes Film Festival, and it was for a feature film that was based on a book written by a monk, and that book was called Man Who Could Recall His Past Lives. I have it written down just in case. But yeah, it was also apparently this film was a part of an art installation that the filmmaker made. I'm going to refer to him as the filmmaker because his name's very long. He made an art installation called Primitive that also included photographs, 2 short films, and ended with this feature film. The entire experience has a lot to do with life and death. The camera doesn't move a whole lot. I recently watched another Yasujiro Ozu film, and I've been watching some Twin Peaks. So I've been on a little David Lynch kick lately. And I gotta say, this film seems to borrow ever so slightly from like Lynchian things, while also very much borrowing from an Ozu style of camera, where we just stick it, boom, we're gonna look over here. The camera is not moving a whole lot. There was a pretty incredible feeling while watching this movie of time seeming to just disappear. It's just under 2 hours, this film, but about an hour into it, for whatever reason, I might have had to use a bathroom or something. I paused it and I was like, oh, I'm already an hour into it? And then all of a sudden the movie was over. And I was like, wow, that movie actually kind of went pretty quick. So in a weird way, it wound up being kind of a time warp that upon reflection, I thought about it, and the film deals so much with life, death, the afterlife, reincarnation, that in an odd way, it almost felt like this symbolic representation of life, where it almost seems kind of boring and slow while it's happening, perhaps, but before you know it, it's all over. Not to be too much of a downer over here, but that's what our film deals with. We're dealing with a man who's dying. Boonmee is a guy who has a kidney failure. There's a whole scene where we see his nephew tending to his dialysis. I guess I'm not really familiar with the process of dialysis, but he's getting his kidney drained, or so it seems. He lives with his sister-in-law and his nephew, and they take care of him, and he's this dying man. And very early in the film, they are sitting outside enjoying dinner, and his wife, Boonmee's wife, who has been dead for 10 years, we find out, appears at the table. And the nephew is he gets up and is kind of creeped out and freaked out that this ghost just showed up. But what I really appreciated about this ghost and this use of the wife is that it's never, ever used in a way that is scary. The afterlife is as much a part of life as anything else. There's even a beautiful sequence where she's sitting with Boonmee as he is sleeping, and he's wondering about, once he dies, how is he going to be able to find her? and she says something along the lines of ghosts don't attach to places, they attach to people. And he's still wonders how it's going to work out once he is in fact not of this earth anymore, and how will he link up with her spirit. But I just thought it was a really nice thing, and there's even a little moment where when she first sits there at the table and Boonmee's sister-in-law, so I guess it's her sister? I don't know. I'm a little lost on some of these relationships, but everybody knows each other. But she even mentions like how, I've been praying for you and about you. And she mentions that like, yeah, I've been hearing those and it's really nice. And so they managed to kind of deal with this heavy topic in a heavy way, but with a light hand. And I thought that was very lovely. There's something that we got to talk about. And I don't know how it hasn't come up yet, but there is a catfish in this movie. And I don't mean someone on the internet pretending to be someone else. I mean a fish with whiskers that seems to have a love scene with a princess. It is as weird as it sounds. However, it is a cute little kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Almost like a vignette in the middle of the film. There's this this princess type woman, and she's, middle-aged or older, and she's being carried through the jungle in one of those things where like you're in a little thingamabob and there's guys carrying it, because she's very important. But without wasting all of your time, she winds up by a river or a lake, and she's looking at her reflection in the water, and her reflection turns into a much younger woman. And then she hears this voice, and you don't really know who the voice belongs to until you realize it belongs to a catfish. There's a catfish talking to her. And it is a strange sequence, because before you know it, she is basically completely disrobed, and this catfish is just going to town in between her legs, and we watch for a little while. And it was weird at first, but upon reflection, kind of started to realize that, we're dealing with a guy who's dying, who's recalling past lives. Maybe he was this princess. Maybe he was this catfish. Maybe he is going to be one of these. We don't even know. It kind of doesn't matter, because the thing that we're really dealing with is this princess has this moment where she is drawn to the fish and then is repellent, because she's wondering if he's actually only attracted to the reflection. And he says something about how he made the reflection and he wouldn't have been able to without her. Almost like she's this key ingredient. So there is this very clear bit of love happening. So then when the love making takes place, yes, it is weird because it's a fish and an older lady. But it does kind of knock you out of your typical sense of how we view romance. And we start to think about spiritual connection and spirits really being tied to each other, no matter what form we take. So as you could tell just from even just this little bit, and I do not want to even pretend to be like some scholar on this film, this one was actually a big challenge for me to get through, because I wanted to like it, and I did like it. I like this film, but I was questioning so much of the experience. It kind of was a challenge for me. I was trying to figure out all the time who these people are, what these connections are, where do I stand in all of this. And I kind of come away with something that I gleaned from reading Roger Ebert's review of the film, which is that it really just is as simple as an old man is dying and he wants to spend it in nature around the people that he loves. And he does just that. And then he passes away. And in a way, it winds up being a really beautiful kind of invitation to understand death and dying and reincarnation and the afterlife a little bit more. So, if you lost somebody recently, this movie might hit a little different. If you miss somebody that you care about a whole lot, this movie might hit a little different, and that's all right. I think that for whatever reason, when it came out and the festival goers at Cannes watched it, they were moved enough by it to want to give it its grand prize. And so here we are watching it, 10 years later. It's from 2010. So yeah, Uncle Boonmee, who could oh God, Uncle Boonmee, who could recall his past lives. It's really a treat. I think that if you're curious about it, you should check it out. Yes, there is that weird, what is that red-eyed creature on the front of the poster? Well, I don't want to spoil it for you. I think you should go find out on your own. But we will have another pick. Every week we got another pick, baby. You can pretty much always expect me and Groot sitting here talking about some movie and then getting on to another one to send us off into the next week and the next adventure of watching film. So Carson here signing off. I hope you got a chance to watch the film. I hope you got a chance to experience it and feel it for yourself. And yeah, I'll see you around. We'll keep this thing going. See you soon.